DeAndre Ayton was just picked #1 by the Phoenix Suns a few weeks ago, and is going to have his debut in the Summer League tomorrow night. Now, he's the #1 overall pick for a reason. Exceptional face-up ability, great athleticism, has the build of a David Robinson, sees the floor pretty well for a big man. Defense needs some work, but he definitely has all the tools to be an All-NBA center in this league. Now, we're going to look at some of the spots where Ayton can improve, and also what makes him so special and such a gifted offensive player. So we're going to start here with the one thing that makes him so dominant, and that is his ability in the post. So we're going to see here a couple dribbles, then a little fall-away jump shot right here. This is something that you're going to see a lot of in the Summer League, but also he's going to work on this more as he gets going into the regular season. Just a few dribbles. You see he's feeling out where the defense is right here. Just going to spin back over his left shoulder. And then he has the size to finish up over the defense. Now, not the greatest competition here, but you don't see a lot of guys who are 7'1" with that ability. Now, personally, I was more of a fan of Luka Doncic in this draft, and I think Bagley really is a guy who's ready to make an impact as well. But the one thing that stands out about DeAndre Ayton that you don't see in big men in this draft and really in the NBA in general is the ability to move up and down the court like a guard. We're going to see here transition, full sprint, and Ayton gets it and punches it. That's just supreme athleticism out of a guy who's 7'1", 250. I mean, he's sprinting, beating all the guards up the court, almost beating Alkins up the court here with the ball. He's going to get it, and he's catching this ball at the three-point line. And that's just 2 steps, and then banging that home. Now, what I like most about that last play, outside of him just showing the athleticism, is showing what can happen when DeAndre Ayton is playing at high speeds and playing with energy. And when he's doing that, and when he did that at Arizona, he was pretty much unstoppable. And I think at the NBA level, as he improves with his strength, as he continues to add more skills, we're just going to see that impact be magnified even more. So it's just going to be a matter of him putting in that effort, putting in that work to improve every day. Here we're going to see another area where DeAndre Ayton's going to be a big asset, and that's in the screen and roll game. Here we're going to see the double team comes, beats it, and finishes with a dunk. So the first thing to highlight in this is the read out of the screen and roll. He has a smaller guy on him, and because of that, setting this pick really doesn't make a lot of sense. So he's going to get it, and the double team's going to come. Now, this is an over-the-shoulder pass that is not too easy, but I think is a pass that needs to be made. We're going to see him catch it, and he doesn't ever really turn and face. Now, if he did, it's possible he hits his defender with an elbow. There's a lot of traffic over here. But again, what I talked about earlier is the patience from DeAndre Ayton. He doesn't panic. There's a lot of big guys in this draft, even talented ones, where when this double team comes, their first thought is panic, dribble out, put the ball on the ground immediately. Instead, Ayton waits. He waits and gets in a good athletic position. And see right here, he's trying to split it. The one thing you teach as a coach is when a double team comes, you don't want to panic. You want to be strong with the ball, chin it, and make sure you have space to operate. That's exactly what Ayton does here. And when the trap breaks, he finds a hole. At that point, it's an easy dunk. So on the low block, DeAndre Ayton is very gifted, as you've seen, but it's not just the power moves that I've been highlighting earlier. It's also this ability to have nice finesse and really use his feet to get around defenders. And right here we're going to see he has a pretty nice size mismatch. And we're going to see that he's going to use that footwork here perfectly to get an open look. So it's going to be down. He's going to get it, I don't know, probably about 12 feet or so. Good drive to the middle, spins back, and finishes. Now, the one thing I want to highlight about this, and something that Ayton needs to be cognitive of, because this is a tendency that he does have when he goes in the post, is he needs to avoid bringing the ball down when he makes this move. A lot of times what he'll do, even here, you're bringing the ball to where a smaller defender, right here, this is probably about a 4 or 5 inch height advantage. A smaller defender can poke it away when you bring the ball down low like this. So when he drives and he spins, look how low the ball is right here. The defender's going to be able to get over and get a hand on it and almost come up with a steal. But Ayton doesn't give up on the play and finishes. If Ayton can keep the ball high, then this is going to be a lot easier and more effective move. So when he spins here, as a guy who's 7'1" and has this height advantage, I'd like to see the ball kind of be more up here around his shoulders when he makes his spin, to where it's just turning around and this is an easy layup as opposed to giving him this reach. But you do have to like that he didn't give up on the play. And I think what this also highlights, if we watch this, this really isn't even the correct read on the spin move. When he makes this fake, his man's already jumping this. He's ready for the spin move. This is where a little shake right here, spin back over the right shoulder, he could hit a follow-away jump shot right there. Now he is going to end up finishing like we've seen, but if he just gets that footwork down, and I know that's a shot he can make and that's footwork that he has, if he gives a little shimmy back and then hits a turnaround jump shot, it's going to be much more open and the lower likelihood that it gets ripped. Now, right here is going to be an example of the right read into a spin move. And right now he's got a solid defender on him and Drew Eubanks. He's going to clear everybody out. Then a great spin back to the baseline and finishes with the foul. The reason why this was the correct move as opposed to the previous play is because when he makes his spin move, he gets his hips all the way around the defender, and at that point there's no chance for any type of reach or shot block to come. So again, you like the patience. His face up is nice, a good reverse pivot. And right here, look at where the defender's foot is. And then Ayton's going to sweep right around. This is textbook on a drop step. And then he gets in a strong enough position to where even though the contact does come, he can finish. And he has the broad shoulders. Shot blocker is not going to be able to get to that shot. Now, with the way the NBA is going, you usually don't see a lot of big guys who are effective on the low block, but also have the ability to step out and hit jump shots. You're seeing a lot more guys who have gotten good at hitting these face-up jumpers and, attacking off the bounce, hitting open threes, but they don't have that low post game. So as we've already seen, Ayton is a force. He's a problem when he gets the ball in the low block, but he's also not as effective, but incredibly skilled facing up and making moves off the dribble and also hitting jump shots. So right here we're going to see an example. He gets it. Brandon McCoy's got his hands down. You're 7'1", and you have the shooting touch that Ayton has. That means you have space to attack. So right here, this is a shot that he can hit. And if he's shooting this shot tomorrow in the summer league, throughout the week, I don't know. If he's shooting this shot 80% of the time, I don't think anybody will be upset, because it's a shot that if he's making it, he does have the ability to then do this when the defense comes up. A drive, again, he loves a spin move, gets to it quickly, brings it down a little bit again as we've seen, but does a good job of getting up over and finishing with his left hand. This isn't a move that you see 7'1" guys make. I probably couldn't name 10 NBA 7-footers who can make this move. And Ayton makes it look easy. And when you have the ability to attack from 15 to 18 feet the way that Ayton does off the dribble, then it's really difficult for a defender to decide what to do. So we see earlier in this game, Brandon McCoy's on him again, and we're just going to see a pick and roll here. Jackson Cartwright's going to come off. It's going to be kind of flat. And look at all that space, and he can hit that. Now, here again, we're going to see in the pick and roll game. And just hearing the news that Devin Booker is signing the 5-year extension, that's a duo that you're going to see a lot in the pick and roll. You're going to see a lot of Devin Booker coming off with Ayton setting the screen. and that's going to create a lot of opportunities, a lot of mismatches, as both can shoot the ball well, and if you put the wrong size guy on them, they can both take advantage. But here we're going to see Ayton come up again with a screen, and right read, slips right out of it. Robert Williams comes too high. It's not really communication on if there's going to be a switch or not. Ayton's open, and now he has Tyler Davis on him, which one of the things that I think when people criticize DeAndre Ayton is that he kind of struggled going against four guys, especially defensively. These are the type of matchups you're going to see more of because he's going to be playing the five. Tyler Davis is, a true five-man. Ayton's just going to give him a little jab step and hit that jumper. This is a problem that defenders are going to have going up against DeAndre Ayton, because when you have the ability to hit that jump shot or also roll to the rim and get a dunk, it's tough for Robert Williams to know what to do. Now think about if this is Devin Booker coming off the screen. Williams would have to be out here. And then the communication has to come. So even if there was a switch and let's say Hogue takes Ayton, that's a mismatch. And instead Tyler Davis is going to take him. Decent communication on Texas A&M's part, but again, patience with the ball, looking for his teammates. Just gets him to back off. We're going to see, look, left foot's going to drop back. Mid-range jump shot Ayton can hit. So, I mean, if you look at the full offensive package, DeAndre Ayton is a problem. He's a guy that's going to be getting anywhere from 16 to 20 points a game on a consistent night, I believe, even as a rookie. If you look at the Suns roster, other than Devin Booker, there's not really anybody who's a significant scoring threat other than TJ Warren. And I think they're going to go out of their way to kind of feature Ayton in positions like this. So, again, in the pick and roll game, we're going to see kind of a late sort of drag screen here. Again, I'd like to see Ayton be more physical with these screens, because when you're 7'1", 250, I don't want you just brushing by guys. I need you hitting guys and making contact, because this frame is too big to not be making your presence felt with your physicality. But here he's just going to come over and then rescreen. Again, the rescreen wasn't great, but it did its job. At this point, Ayton's defender is way back, getting ready to take Barcelo. Little skip, pass over. Again, look at all this space. For a guy with a release like this, shooting ability like Ayton has, it's a cash step-in jumper. It's really a warm-up jumper. And when I said Ayton has all the gifts offensively, I really mean all of them. And his passing ability is something I think was widely overlooked, especially outside of the Pac-12, mainly because there was so many matchups where he just had an advantage, and it was better for him to take those shots. But this is a guy who's looking to pass, who's looking over his shoulder, looking for the open man, and really gets joy out of setting up his teammates. So we're going to see right here, size mismatch, double team's going to come, all eyes on him. This was consistently what happened at Arizona. I think part of the problem why they didn't really reach their potential, it's not really solely on Ayton, but it was a lot of pass to Ayton and guys watch. So right here, all the defense is watching. We're going to see right here, Raleigh Alkins is going to make a great basket cut, and Ayton's going to find him, and he's going to put it all over this defender. You really have to love everything about this if you're evaluating Ayton. He gets the ball, he puts it up high, doesn't bring it down to where the double teaming guard can get it, and he's looking for cutters. And he also has Trier over here too. That's a very difficult pass, not really a whip pass he's capable of making, but the cutter is coming, gets it to him right on time and on target, and gets a poster dunk. Now, if the offensive gifts aren't enough for DeAndre Ayton, part of the reason he's also the number one pick, and it, to me really seemed like the safest pick with Luka Doncic being a foreign player. I think a lot of people have questions about that, even though he has proven everything I think he's needed to prove. And Bagley having some questions about if his jump shot is consistent enough to continuously stretch out to the NBA three-point line. You look at the rebounding of DeAndre Ayton, and it is a plus skill, and it's something that is going to bode well for him. Consistent double-double threat. He's pretty much a walking double-double. And the reason why is because he's relentless, has a physical gifts, has great hands, and his timing around the basket is phenomenal. So we're going to see a miss here, and that's just a grown man right there. I mean, that's the type of finish where if you see that play and you know nothing else about DeAndre Ayton, that's going to open up your eyes immediately. I mean, he's calling for the ball here, and the guy who's supposed to be boxing him out isn't really paying attention. So something you have to love out of a big man is that he doesn't just rely on his size to get rebounds. We're going to see he's getting position. He's boxing out like he's on defense right now, trying to create space to where he can get this miss. And he does, and that second jump is incredible. Then he has the strength to finish strong over the rim. Now to the part of DeAndre Ayton's game that's going to need the biggest point of improvement, and that's on the defensive side of the ball. Now, it's not about not being able to guard. You've seen the physical gifts in the other parts of this. He's long, he's athletic, he gets off the ground well, has good timing, but on the defensive end is not locked in on a consistent basis. And in the summer league, I think that's the one thing I want everybody to look at the most is what kind of energy and effort is he giving on the defensive end, because that's what's going to make him go from a solid 18, 20, 10 type of threat to a guy you really consider to be elite and not just a guy who puts up numbers. So right here we're going to see an example. Right here, this is Colin Sexton coming off a ball screen. Ayton's going to hedge, gives too much space, and he gets right to the basket. This is a mistake that you can't make at the NBA level. You just can't. If you come out too high like this, like Ayton is, there's guards who are as quick or quicker than Colin Sexton. Now, he's an elite athlete, of course, but coming out that high, it's really going to be difficult to defend the pick and roll if that can't be covered. But like I said, and like I will continue to say, DeAndre Ayton has the potential to be, at the very least, an average defender because of his ability to make decisions, has solid instincts, but defensively, it just seems like he doesn't have the will or the want to. So here we're going to see a similar pick and roll, Jackson Cartwright defending it again, and here he's right where he needs to be, and now he gets it. We're out in the open. Now we get to see the athleticism. You need to see DeAndre Ayton be as engaged on the defensive end as he is on the offensive end. And I know that's very difficult to say, especially talking about a teenager. Scoring's a lot of fun, but he needs to be fundamentally in the right spot. And right here, he's where he needs to be. That's what I'm talking about, using your length, using your athletic gifts. Quick enough to get over and shuffle if he continues to go, but you got to have that foot right here so he can't split this, because if he splits it, the whole defense is done. Here he does a good job of getting the hand on it. Then what happens when you play defense? You get out in transition, your point guard rewards you with the dunk. Now here we're just going to see, again, pick and roll defense is the one thing DeAndre Ayton to me is below average at. It's not something he's ever seemed engaged in. His IQ defensively hasn't been phenomenal, but I'm not sure if that's because of his actual ability to guard or if that's about his desire to guard. So here we're going to see the screen's going to come and he's going to hedge. He kind of heads like he was supposed to right here, but didn't really force him out enough. So what I'm talking about here is when you're hedging like this, if you're going to hedge hard, you got to make that decision to push him out this way. You can't let him stay on this path, because if he stays on this path, your point guard's not going to get around to guard it. So he comes out. I'm going to assume this was meant to just be a show here for Ayton. But what happens is Jackson Cartwright must have not gotten that message, because these two kind of get tangled up, and now you're going to have one of the better offensive big men in the Big 12 wide open. And Ayton's all the way out here. He's just going to get right to the basket. Now the help's going to come, but that's not good enough. The energy needs to come right here. So, like I said, I would prefer he's pushing McLaughlin farther out this way. But even if he doesn't, as soon as you show, you're sprinting right back to your guy. And he's a solid shooter from about 15 to 20 feet, but you can't assume a guy's shooting a jump shot here. This is a wide open lane. You're giving this to NBA guys, NBA big men. That's an absolute problem. And he's lucky he gets saved by Ristich helping him out, but Ayton's running this way. Got to be sprinting back to the basket here. So here again, this is an effort play. Not really totally Ayton's fault here, but look how deep Isaac Haas is going to catch it. And there's not a lot of guys who are that size in the NBA, but if he gets it this deep, and you're going against, Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, you're going against guys who can really score on the block. Isaac Haas is, not an NBA draft pick, but a guy who's going to be playing pro basketball for a little while. You let guys get it that deep, that's not even work. There's no effort that had to be put here to finish. So this is just a simple cross screen right here by Matthias to get Isaac Haas the ball exactly where he wanted to. And I imagine when Purdue practiced this play, the idea was for Isaac Haas to get the ball exactly where he got it here. And this is where Ayton has to not only, know the scouting report of his players a little bit better, but just put in a little bit more effort on the defensive side of the ball. Right here, he's getting tangled up with a guy who's probably about 6'3", 6'4", and if they wanted to, Haas could have gotten this ball right here, right underneath the basket. And as a defender in the post, you just can't accept that. And as good of a shooter as Matthias is, you can't really leave him at all. So Ayton's got to really fight to get around. By the time he gets there, Haas is pretty much unguardable at this spot with his size, about 7'3", around 300 pounds. So at this point, it's too deep. Even if Ayton was an exceptional shot blocker, he has some potential. We'll see that later. This is difficult to ask anybody, no matter what size they are, to defend somebody this big from about 5 feet from the basket. Now, with that being said, what I would have liked to see is even go back from that, because the problem is right away. The ball's already away, so Ayton should already be here on the help side. This is not a driver right here. It's not a big threat, but the reason why you're in the help side here is so when a screen comes like this, you're already in position to defend. So instead, Ayton's on the other side, kind of hugging Haas. This is a lob to where if they were throwing it, it's a tough angle, and Ayton would have been able to recover had he been, over here. Instead, he gets hit, and now nobody on the help side. He's supposed to be defensively already over here, but he's going to get it and can just turn right over his left shoulder, get to his right-handed hook. Like I said, it's an easy shot. Now, this Buffalo game was, to me, the one thing that kind of highlighted the lack of effort that DeAndre Ayton has shown throughout his time at Arizona. And it just didn't sit well with me the way that he guarded the ball. Now, understand he was guarding Jeremy Harris most of the game. Harris is more of a 3, not even really a 4. So to have Ayton at 7'1", chasing him around was definitely a task. But this is the one thing, you're playing a team like Buffalo, who, no disrespect to them, an excellent team, well-coached team. This ended up being a blowout, and I couldn't help but feel like Ayton, as the most talented player in the country in the draft, should have done more on the defensive end. Now, he didn't do well on offense, but defensively he really struggled, and there was a lot of this. Buffalo would just send him through motions, has to get over screens here, and then once he gets it, this whole game Harris was dancing with him, and Ayton had no answer for it. So right here, a couple crosses, good move, got to the basket, and finished. Now, I don't want people to buy too much into this and think that, DeAndre Ayton is a huge defensive liability because Harris is a 3, like I said. But if you're thinking about Ayton switching on to, quicker threes and even some of the better fours in the league, he's got to be able to move his feet. Harris right there is crossing over, going right back, and Ayton was slow moving his feet to get over there. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. This is him moving his feet. Again, going against a 4 here as opposed to more of a perimeter player. But, solid defensive stance to start. And look, he can shuffle his feet, he can move his feet. He has the potential and the ability to be a guy who can make an impact on defense. Moving his feet well, cutting off lanes, and then look at this. Cuts him off right here, he has to spin, nowhere else to go, the defense comes, gets over, gets a hand on it. This is a prime example of where he's going to be, because like I said, he won't be guarding the quick, athletic wings for the most part. In switching situations, yes, but when he does, it will be important that he does have this type of help. Against certain teams with shooting, it'll be more difficult, but it's going to make it easier on him. So again, when people say DeAndre Ayton can't play defense, that's not the truth. It's that he doesn't, and at times lacks a focus. But that doesn't mean it's not something he can get better at. In college, a lot of times you will see guys who, because of the role they have on the team, a lot of them think they don't have to play defense to get to the NBA. They don't put in the effort, and they get to the NBA level, and you see an improvement. There's other guys where this is a bad habit and really becomes who they are as a defender, which I think Ayton right now is leaning towards that. But Phoenix has a good developmental system that they just started getting, and with those players, with mentors like Tyson Chandler, Trevor Ariza, guys who have been excellent defenders in the league, they can be mentors for him. But there's examples like this where you just got to scratch your head. So, drive's going to come, pass, and he missed a shot, but DeAndre Ayton is nowhere to be found on that shot contest at all. So, when you're looking at this, he's glued to Yurtseven here, who, at this point in the year was still kind of finding himself, but a talented big man, so respectable. You don't want to give him anything easy. But the drive comes, there's no jumping to the ball here at all. He could have kept going here, and it didn't look like Ayton was ready to go. Standing 2 straight up, not ready to make a play. Pass to a cutter, and he is still glued to Yurtseven. He should be right here at the rim, and that should have to be a forced pass here to Yurtseven. Instead, it's a layup, and he even reverses it. That's what, to me, is appalling about this. He reverses on this layup, and DeAndre Ayton on the other side doesn't contest at all. He is still right next to him like these guys are best friends or something. These are the type of plays that you can't take off. And I mentioned Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler's a prime example of help defense as a big man and what you want. You can't just give up a wide open layup like this. Yes, your guards got beat, but you're supposed to be there to protect the rim and be ready to help. So I want to leave you with this example of what I think DeAndre Ayton can do and what he can be defensively. Here's a drive on a quicker guy. Recovers and swats it out. All I want to see is this type of energy and effort. Kind of gets beat, but doesn't give up on the play, and then smacks it away at his apex. All I ask of DeAndre Ayton defensively is that he tries to be that dude on defense. That's all I can ask. And I think if he does that, you're going to see a lot of this. He averaged close to 2 blocks a game. He can do more. And if he does that, on top of the offensive abilities he has and the production he's going to have on that end, and as a rebounder, we're going to be talking about him as one of the elite centers in the entire NBA.